And we are live. What's up, guys? Thank you for joining us for a very special Sunday live stream. We got the one, the only Stirling Cooper joining us. And this is an exciting interview because, as I'm sure you guys know for this channel, typically, I get like dating coaches on here, I get entrepreneurs, I get, like health experts. I've yet to get someone in the adult film industry on, but I wanted to do this for a while because I feel like that gives you a very unique perspective on man to woman interactions because at the end of the day, you've seen some shit, like you've seen more pussies than 99.9% of men out there. And, so for you, this is also, it's like work. So, I think you're going to have a lot of interesting, perspectives on this. So before we start, do you want to give a quick, maybe 30-second to a minute summary, just, the nitty gritty?
Yeah. So, where do I start? So if you couldn't tell from my accent already, I'm from Australia.
You're Russian.
Yeah, right. I started my porn career out there. Then I made my way to Europe. Worked in Europe for about a year. And then I made my way up to Los Angeles, where I am now. And I've been shooting out here for the last couple of years. And end of this year, I've been 4 years in the community, in the industry, rather. But even before that, I worked in Australia as a straight male escort, because it's legal out there.
Mm-hmm.
So I had experience professionally having sex. Can I swear on your show?
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Okay.
No rules.
Cool. I experienced professionally fucking for quite a number of years, even before I got into porn. Yeah, and now I'm out here. It's a lot of fun. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, man, you have an interesting story. I was I was kind of mentioning this to you earlier. I was watching some of your other interviews. So initially, you had a catering company doing paleo meal delivery, right? So that was your first thing, which I actually very much respect because I've been following the paleo diet for 7 years now. So I'm all about the paleo life. And you were kind of mentioning how that's when you got in the best shape of your life is when you got into paleo.
Yeah, man, and it was not just the best shape physically, but mentally. My sex drive was super high, lots of clarity, lots of focus.
Mm-hmm.
Digestion was on point. My skin cleared up.
Mm-hmm.
All this little stuff.
For me, a big one was that growing up, I lived in mostly cold places like Russia and fucking Boston, New Jersey, and I would get colds all the time, dude. I was sick every other week. It got to the point where I was convinced I had AIDS. Because I was like, well, why would I get sick all the time? So I remember when I was 20 and I was embarrassed to go to my regular doctor. I went to this free clinic and the lady's like, okay, so how they ask you about your sexual history. They're like, so, how many sexual partners have you had? I'm like, at that point, it was 4 or 5. And she's like, okay, and then how many times have you engaged in anal sex? I'm like, 0. How many times have you received anal sex? I'm like, 0. She's like, come on, we don't judge here. I was like, no. She's like, listen, you're telling me you've had sex with 5 girls and you think you have HIV? Come on. I know you probably suck a little dick. I'm like, no, what the fuck are you talking about? They couldn't understand it. I just get colds a lot. But so how I dived into the paleo world was that I was Googling having colds all the time. And someone in some blog post in the comments said, when I switched to paleo, I stopped getting sick. And I was like, well, I might as well give it a shot. And dude, I get sick now once every 3 years, almost never get sick.
Yeah, dude, I don't get sick at all. Part of me thinks that's because I eat a lot of buttholes. So, having eaten buttholes all around the world, I think my immune system is amazing now.
You have a very diverse gut biome.
Yes, that's exactly it.
Yeah. When you need to do a case study, the average, sickness rate of a butthole eater and a non-butthole eater, and just see if there's a statistical significance there.
I'm absolutely convinced. This is why I had COVID back in May, and it did nothing for me.
Yeah, me too. I got COVID in June.
It did absolutely nothing.
Yeah, same.
It bounced right off me.
Yeah, same. So anyway, so you had a business doing catering, and then you started. So you mentioned you started swinging. So I think what was interesting is that you were swinging as a single guy, which for anyone who's not familiar with the swinging scene is hard. I did a little bit of swinging back in the day. We still live in LA, And like I try to do it as a single guy. It's just like, nope, gonna bring a girl. Like as a one straight guy, it's like it's quite the challenge. Might be even as challenging as getting to the porn world. So, how did you break into that?
Yeah, so back in Australia, there was a website that's kind of like a dating website, really, but specifically for swinging, and it was called Red Hot Pie. And yeah, I basically created a profile on that. I'd learned a bit of like mystery method and that kind of stuff, and I just applied all those same principles to my swimming bio.
You're like doing magic tricks and orgy and shit.
I wasn't doing that. But yeah, I was sending messages that weren't lame, basically, and it was grabbing girls' attention because there's some single girl in the swinging scene. So I would connect with them, and then they would invite me to parties. And that's kind of how I started to really network in that swinging scene. Yeah, and then once couples liked me, I'm going to even more parties, and yeah, and it cascaded from there.
Right, yeah, it's one of those things when you break into it, it then becomes easy. But like, it's just the breaking. I'm sure it's like that with the porn industry also. Like, once you actually break into, like, you have a reputation, and I'm sure it's at this point it's not hard for you to get booked. Like, it's probably pretty easy. You're probably like in demand. But like initially, like it's a fucking challenge. It's one of those like there's like a barrier to entry type of things.
Yeah, and the thing with being a male performer, right? You get one shot. That's it.
Yeah.
So with every director, every time you work for a new director, doesn't matter what your reputation is prior. With that person, you have one shot. And if you nail that first scene, then he's going to keep booking you. But if you don't nail that first scene, you're done. No more second tries.
Yeah, man. Fortunately, there's more than one porn director. But yeah, what if you're like someone like James Dean, or like you have like a real big like is it still the same thing, or at that point you just kind of have a little bit of leeway?
Yeah, I mean these guys don't fail. So once you've got that much experience in the industry, every dude, I don't care who it is. I had an industry legend here in my studio today, Mr. Charles Dara, and even he was admitting, he's had bad days and he's failed every now and then. And every dude who's been in this industry for like, long enough has had a bad day. So, but once you've had a couple of bad days, you learn how to overcome them and how to get around them and how to prevent them. And that's guys like James Dean, they know how to prevent that shit already. So.
Sterling, one thing, I'm getting a lot of comments. People are saying there's echo on Alex's end when you speak. So let's address this because people.
If you have headphones,
I can try my headphones. Yeah, let's try that, guys. On a scale from 1 to 10, how bad is it? Like, is it distracting or is it just minorly annoying? Let's see where Scrumpet's probably gonna be an echo. All right, let me try putting on headphones.
Cool.
Just bear with us for like 1 minute, guys. Gotta find this shit. Hey, you don't have any headphones, do you?
No. Yep. Where we at? I'm just checking all of your reading all your questions from my chat now, guys.
Yeah. No, it's okay. I'll grab them. Yeah, I'm gonna run out to my car and grab the headphones. My apologies, everyone. Yeah, just give me like 5 minutes.
Tell you what, Alex. If you turn down the volume on your end,
okay.
See what that does.
Let's see. Okay, I'll put it on half.
All right, guys. Does that change anything for you guys listening live? Yeah, Fergus here suggested you just press mute every time I.
Yeah, that's gonna get annoying real fast, especially we're having like a dialogue back and forth.
Exactly.
Yeah.
If you want,
all right, guys. Yeah, let me know. We just turned down my volume. Let me know if this. Oh, it's a little better.
Yeah.
Is it still distracting or?
Yeah. What's it like now, guys?
Microphone to work. Somehow.
It definitely sounds better on my end.
Oh, it's slightly better, but yeah, let me run out and get the headphones.
Hey, if you go get some headphones, Alex. I can scroll up back through the chat and start answering some questions if you like.
All right, perfect. Yeah, sounds good. Let's do that,
cool.
man. So give me 5. I'll be back.
Alrighty.
You found some?
Cool. At the very, very top here, I've got a question from AK. It says, how long should you aim to last after penetration starts? In my opinion, that's entirely up to you guys. I mean, look, don't think you have to be like a porn star. I mean, we're literally having sex for like 2 hours every time we shoot a scene. To film like a 30-minute scene, it takes us 40 to 50 minutes to do that, and then we have to do
so
it takes even longer. Oh, nice. Excellent. That was quick. Boom. All right. You've got me now. You can hear me fine?
Yeah. So
perfect.
I can hear you just fine. Can you guys let me know how how it is on your end?
Brilliant. Yeah, I mean, I'm not hearing the sounds I was hearing before, so
perfect.
I think we're good.
Props. Shout out to mysterious Colombian woman for saving the day.
Excellent.
Awesome. Cool. So let's crack back into it. So
yeah, we're talking about swinging. I think I was talking about being in the swinging scene.
Yeah. So overall, what was that experience like? Like, how did you find that like satisfying, or did that kind of get old after a bit?
No, I loved it. I absolutely loved being in the swinging scene, man. And to be honest, I've been out of it for a while. Like, kind of ever since I started having sex professionally, I stepped out of the scene.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm kind of keen to get back into it now. To be honest, I miss it a little bit. It's a lot of fun. It's pretty liberating. It's one of those ways that you get to just indulge in various perversions and fantasies that you might not otherwise get to. And it was actually girls in the swinging scene, because when I was in the swinging scene, I met a bunch of girls, and some of those girls happened to be escorts, and they told me, "Hey, you should do this. You'd be pretty good at it." And then I was doing it for a few years, and then I had a few more girls tell me, "Hey, you should try doing pornography. You'd be good at it." And so I gave it a shot, and then here I am. Actually, just got nominated for best male actor or best actor.
Oh, congrats, bro.
For AVN. So we'll see if I win that.
How does one go about? Is it like people cast votes, or is it just like this like panel of judges? Like, how does that work?
With different award shows, it's a bit different. Sometimes it's a audience, like fan voting scenario. With AVN, which is the biggest award show, the one they have in Vegas every year. With them, it's a case of they have a board that sort of reviews everything, and then they decide internally. And because I don't suck anyone's penis, my chances of winning are a lot slimmer than say some of the
is it like that type of thing? Like there's like low-key gay guys, and like if you want to win, you have to like fucking
look. I don't know if it's that way with the dudes awards. I was kind of joking, but with the girls awards, I have heard
with the chicks, I'm sure. Yeah,
I've heard rumors that there's elements of like dick suckery going on.
How does that even like some guys with like long glass sitting there, and he's like, the technique he's using is on point, but the way his left ball is hitting her clit is a little, unartistic. He should move his testicle a little bit to the right. So he's not there yet. Maybe he's next year.
I honestly
so subjective.
I don't know how. Yeah, it is very subjective. It's very subjective. They try to base it on. I mean, there's so many different awards at these shows. Like the acting stuff is purely, is a believable acting performance, which in porn is pretty rare, to be perfectly honest. But with the performance side of things, like you just suggested, it's more about can this guy bring out something in the girl? Like, can he? Because here's the misconception with porn, right? The misconception with porn is that all the girls are raging nymphomaniacs all of the time, and this is absolutely not the case. Maybe a third of the girls I work with are like that. About a third, right?
Yeah, I kind of heard that. Like, for example, Riley Reid, like, she's like, you know, legit nymphomaniac. At least that's kind of the vibe I get from her interviews. But then you got like Lana Rhodes, who, I mean, I don't know if she's bullshitting or not, but she's like, yeah, it just purely worked for me. Like, I don't really like getting like fucked by a bunch of guys. So yeah, for sure, you have, for some it's work, some it's both.
Yeah, and what happens? Because I always lump them into this like 3 categories. I lump porn girls into. One is the genuine nymphomaniacs who make this job the easiest job in the world. Then you got another third who are kind of professionals. So they won't really. And the way I judge all this stuff is by what's the girl doing before we get to the sex scene. When we're doing all the dialogue and we're learning our lines and we're just chit chatting. Like, if the girl's sucking my dick before the camera's even rolling, all right, she's an nymphomaniac. Yeah. If we're just chit chatting and we're being friendly, and she's not like grabbing my junk or anything, all right, she's a professional. She's waiting for the camera to turn on. Oop, pardon me. Waiting for the camera to turn on before she engages in anything physical. And then there's another third, which are the divas, which are the girls that are kind of like, oh, they have the attitude of, you're lucky to be in my vagina's presence.
Really? Okay.
And they're sitting there all day on their fucking iPhone, like checking their Instagram feed. And then the camera, the director is like, action, and she's like, oh, all right, fine, and dick in her mouth. So those are the days where it's hard. Those are the days which we get paid for. That you know, we have to actually bring our A game.
I'm not going to ask you to name drop because I know that could like probably fuck with your career. But what category do you feel like you fit into personally?
Oh, I'm a professional, I'd say. Yeah, I can turn it on like a switch. Yeah. Yeah, there's some guys, like some older dudes who I've worked alongside. People might recognize the name Steve Holmes. He's an older German man. He's in his 60s.
I think I've heard that name, yeah.
He is a raging pervert. He is fantastic. Really? I've worked alongside him. It's hilarious working alongside the guy. Yeah, he's great. He gets away with shit that no one else could get away with. Like we were shooting a scene together, and the girl who was supposed to be, who's in the scene with me and him, she ran off to the bathroom to do some stuff. And he walks up to the director, who's a woman, and pulls his dick out, grabs her by the back of the head, and just gets the director to start sucking his dick.
It's hilarious.
I'm like, damn, I've never seen anyone do this before on set. Like, that's, I mean, the director is also a performer, so that's fine. But
so he's literally doing some porno shit in a porno. That's like some fucking Inception shit, like dream within a dream.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly.
Crafty. I have always found it like almost like, I don't know, amusing when you see like like a male performer who's like, you know, he's like in his 50s, 60s, like Ron Jeremy, right? Like, and you're like, damn, like people still want to watch this guy fuck, but I guess it's just like a name brand at that point because you have like
it's also a relatability thing too, because don't forget there's older dudes watching porn.
That's true.
And apparently, I mean, I don't want to speak for the man, but I've heard in interviews that Ron Jeremy actually got more popular when he got fat.
Interesting.
He used to be
more fat guys can relate.
Yeah, he used to be like thin and kind of jacked at the very beginning of his career, but no one remembers him like that. No one remembers it. You can look it up. You can look back to like his early movies. He was in good shape.
Ron Jeremy, not fat porn.
Yeah. And then he got fat and became the hedgehog because he was so hairy, and everyone liked him. So,
dude, it's funny. I ran into him at a party when I used to live in LA, and I don't know. I thought it was really cool. Like, I was like, "Fuck, Ron Jeremy's here." So I was like, the girl I was with, I'm like, "Yeah, this party's awesome. We got fucking Ron Jeremy here." And she's like, "Yeah, I prefer not to like see him." I'm like, "Why? Like, he's fucking badass. Like, you know, how often do you get to talk to Ron Jeremy?" And she's like, "Every day. This guy's been sending me dick pics for like 2 years now. Like, this guy's been trying to smash." But apparently, he's like a notorious like sex fiend. Like, that guy likes to legitimately fuck.
Yeah, I worked alongside him for this non-porn project at the beginning of last year, and he has that reputation, like you just said, for being, for being like a lecherous old man. Let's just say that.
What non-porn project does Ron Jeremy do?
It was a sex education video.
Okay.
and they got him in to just add clout to the, just add the name to the brand or whatever. But unfortunately, he actually fell asleep in the middle, like just before a take, and he fell asleep with his eyes open. I've never seen a human being do that.
I've never seen that either. That's
it was amazing.
Oh, Ron. He's just being Ron.
He was like sitting there. He was like,
flick his ball sack. He'll wake up.
Oh my God, it was ridiculous. The director's like, action. And he just stood there not saying anything for like 30 seconds before everyone in the room realized, holy shit, Ron Jeremy just fell asleep.
Yeah, he still has a boner. This is weird. Yeah, interesting. But to go back to the swinging thing. So I think a lot of guys, especially in the picker community, like they're like, very few of them have experience with swinging, but a lot of them are fascinated by it. Like they think it's like this, like, crazy thing. And I've been to a few swinger parties myself, like probably not nearly as many as you. But one thing, just a few things I've noticed is that, first of all, swinging party, it's not like at least the ones I've been, it's not like a sexual free for all. Like there's a lot of they take consent very seriously. Like
yeah. Like there's a whole level of etiquette to swingers party.
There's like a lot of etiquette. I have noticed that. Yes, yeah. That's one thing I've noticed. And I've also noticed there's like different kinds of like swinging events. Like some of them are just straight up gangbangs, like one chick, 20 guys, and then there's more of like, the rich people swinging, where it's like more like kind of what you would think in a movie. Like what kind of like?
Then there's like hot people swinging parties, and then there's like ugly fat people swinging parties.
Yes, yeah.
So those are the two. Those are the ones you got to avoid. That's the trick. The trick is to like network, because like as a single dude, you're already starting.
You're the bottom of the ladder. Yeah.
Like everybody wants to invite. So there's the unicorns in the swinging scene, which are the
hot girls.
The hot girl, specifically single hot girl. So everyone wants to play with those girls. Yeah. So if you're as a single guy, if you can slide in her DMs and connect with her, because they always get invited to parties and they're typically allowed to bring a +1.
Okay.
Not all of them will bring a +1, because every party tries to keep the ratio of dick to vagina in favor of more vagina.
I've seen some parties fail horribly at that.
Well, then that's a terrible organizer.
Yeah, the good ones though. Yeah, there's definitely different like levels of parties. Like you said,
because the hot people parties, right? The parties that you want to go to, like the dudes are good looking, or at least the dudes are like wealthy. The dudes actually don't have to be that good looking at the hot people parties. The girls are good looking though. Yeah. So it's like, it might be like a 40-year-old dude who's got some money, but his missus is like 28 with a pair of massive titties, like massive fake titties and like a stripper body, and like everyone at the party is like that. And they'll definitely keep the ratio in favor of more women, because the girls are all bisexual in the swinging scene. Like, so they all want a bit of pussy as well. So if there's more girls, then more people can have some fun. There's I've never been to a swinging party that had like bisexual guys playing or anything like that.
It's funny you say that. I've never seen that either.
Yeah, I've only ever seen like straight dudes and bisexual chicks.
Yeah, so that's actually very true. I never thought about it, but I've never seen that either. Yeah. So I'm assuming like the hot people swinger parties, they take place like at someone's mansion, or like where do those go down?
Yeah, they're always at a private house, a private location, like a big apartment, or like a nice swanky house. Like funny story. The first ever party I went to, I was petrified. Like the first time I got invited to one by this girl, and she was already in the party. I think she was already sucking a penis when I pulled up in the parking lot.
Hey, Sterling.
And she wasn't replying to my text. I was like, and I was super nervous. And I think I was like 25 at this point. And I'm like, oh, this is really like, I didn't want to just waltz in there. I didn't know the door code. I didn't know like what apartment number it was in this complex. I'm not going to just knock on stuff. But I could see people walking down the street wearing big fur coats. Like couples 2x2 and the ladies are all wearing big fur coats. I'm like, they're definitely going to the party. Yeah. So I knew it was sort of there. And she wasn't replying, and I was like, I chickened out. I was like, no, I'm not going to do this. And I drove off. And as I drove, just before I got to the end of the street, she called me. And she was like, oh, hey, I was just busy. Come on up. It's this apartment, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, fuck. And then at that exact moment when I was sort of having this conflict, there was a song playing on the radio. It was Latch by Disclosure. I never forget it. And to this day, whenever that song plays, I get butterflies in my stomach. Reminding me of the exact same moment. And I turned around, went back and went to the party and I had a fantastic night. I was running around naked, sticking my penis into all kinds of women. It was a great time. It was my first time ever having sex in like group / public kind of environment. So it was really eye-opening for me. I was like, I didn't really think I didn't actually think I would have like nerves and performance anxiety or anything. So I didn't. But at the end of the night, I just recall like sitting on the balcony completely naked with a drink in my hand, chatting to like this couple who were fully dressed. And I had like an internal monologue moment, like, what the hell is going on? This is a weird moment to be at. So I think I found my calling.
Balling. What are some like practical tips? Because I'm sure every guy has this question. Practical tips if you're a single straight guy, you want to crack into the swinging. Like, what would you recommend?
Well, you've got to know what the scene is like in your area. So I know here in California there are a few different clubs. There are certain clubs that are better than others. And sometimes they have like single dudes nights. If you go as a single dude to these events, you're going to have to pay a cover charge, right? Yeah. So typically that's like somewhere like $150 for like single dudes to enter. For couples, they tend to charge like half that for couples, and then single girls come in. Free. Oh, there you go. And single girls tend to get in for free to this sort of stuff. So, like I said, back in Australia, I was using this website called Red Hot Pie. Now, I'm pretty sure that does actually exist in America. It's just not as big and as popular as it was. That's a decent place to start. If you've got any kind of like, here's the key though. If you've got any kind of game, if you're charming and you know how to talk to people and you're in good shape, you can make an impression at these parties pretty easily. If you're a well-to-do dude, like you don't even have to be super young. Just be good looking and charming. You're gonna stand out immediately at these parties. Look, maybe you're gonna have to slay a few dragons to start networking in the scene. You know what I mean? Yeah. But you can slowly make your way up that networking ladder to the really hot people and to the really hot people parties. And especially if you can get a unicorn or two on your team, then you've made it. Then you're in, and then you can start going to all the private parties, because the clubs are where anyone can go to. The real sweet stuff is at the private parties that you don't know about. Yeah, for sure. FetLife is another potential website. FetLife tends to be more focused on the BDSM community, but there is a lot of overlap between the BDSM lifestyle and the swinging lifestyle. So, and FetLife I know is very popular in the US. Yeah, FetLife is cool. I mean, it can be almost like your sexual resume. Like you put pictures, videos, like it's like a sexual resume. That's the best way I would describe FetLife. Absolutely. Like a sexual LinkedIn. Yeah. So with the swinging scene, what would be like your recommendation of like how to best network? Because like, like I can see like, like you're like balls deep inside someone's wife. Like, yo, man, you got an Instagram? Like, or like what are some practical ways like a guy can go about that? Look, just get people's numbers. Like, get you probably. I mean, look, if you've got a good Instagram, if you've got like if you've got an Instagram that you can use as a DHV, or like as a bit of social proof, then by all means do an Instagram exchange. But I always be respectful. That's the thing. Like you gotta understand the etiquette. You gotta ask to play with somebody. Never assume that you can play with somebody. Especially if you're I witnessed that firsthand. Like I remember when I was at a swinger party and I was chatting up this couple, and then eventually I started playing with a wife, and guys would come up and touch her, and they were just like, they weren't like I was better looking than them. They're just other guys. The difference is that I built a little bit of banter first, but like they would just come up and she would get pissed, man. She'd like slap their hands away, don't touch me, and then she'd like, hi daddy, like so it's like that's one thing I definitely witnessed firsthand. I was almost surprised by that. It just goes to show, like, there's no clearer demonstration of the importance of being good with women, or having that, like, just that little bit of skill what you would call, like what people call game, right? Just that little bit of skill with charming a woman, than that example you just gave, where it's a swingers party, everyone thinks it's fair game, but it really isn't.
Yeah.
Even at a swingers party, you can get shut down and rejected.
Oh, for sure. And the like the bar to get, like, you know, regular at a bar, like, you know, I mean, sometimes you get easy layups, but generally speaking, you have to have a run pretty good game. You have to handle logistics. Like, there's some game and work involved. So the bar is like maybe here, right? With a swinger party, the bar is here, but there's still a bar.
Yes, exactly. Yes. So you want to have etiquette. You want to be. I would, if I saw a chick that I was like really keen on at a swingers party, and I knew she had a partner, I would kind of game her husband. I'd make sure that guy loved me by the end of the day, by the end of the night, whatever. I'd be like I'd find some rapport. I'd shoot the shit with him. You know, tell him his wife's beautiful, because most of the dudes who are in the swinging scene are, it's like a hot wifing thing. Like they get off on seeing. It's not necessarily like there's a distinction between, if we're talking like fantasy wise, there's a distinction between cuckolding and hot wifing. Cuckolding is when the dude is into being degraded, seeing his wife with another dude. Hot wifing is where the dude gets off on seeing his wife having fun, and she's not degrading him. She's like engaging with him, like, oh, it feels so good, baby. I love you, baby. Like, she's still showing respect to him.
Right.
That's called hot wifing, and that's what 90% of the swinging scene is about. So if you show respect to the guy, hey, tell him his wife's like, man, she's gorgeous, man. You're a lucky guy. This kind of shit. At the end of the night, he likes you, and then she comes up, hey, this is Stirling. We should play with this. Like, would you like to play with him sometime, honey? Oh, that'd be lovely, blah, blah, blah. And then you exchange numbers. And you exchange them with, you either do it, you either organize everything through, if you want to this is just about banging a dude's wife, right? This is one very specific example. If you want to bang his wife, typically you're not getting her number. You're getting either his number or you're getting both of the numbers. So you're either doing a group text scenario where you're texting both of them. So there's an element of respect in there for the guy. You're not texting her behind his back. Or you're texting him like, hey, let's set up a date. I've got another girl I can bring. That's an even easier way to do it, is if you've got a unicorn that he might want to play with, and you'll exchange a like a switcheroo thing. You're like, hey, I'll bring this girl. You give me your wife for an evening, and then we have a bit of fun with it. So it's a lot of the same shit that, like, you have to kind of learn if you're going out to clubs and hitting on girls and stuff.
Right. Social dynamics are slightly different types of social dynamics. Now, would you say if it's a cuckold type of situation, that's almost the opposite? Like, you want to be texting the wife and almost like low-key, like talking shit to the guy, like oh, that's your wife. That's cute that you think you can fuck her. Yeah, let a real man come in here.
My experience, I had a little bit of experience with the cuckolding stuff, and it tended to be respectful until it got to the bedroom.
That's kind of what I've witnessed as well. Yeah.
Yeah, and then in the bedroom is where the character comes out.
Yeah. I did a little bit of that as well. Have you ever fucked with, like, back when it was a thing, Craigslist casual encounters?
No, that wasn't a thing back in Australia.
It wasn't.
Nah.
Dude, in the U.S., that was a gold mine. Like, during the golden era, was like maybe 2012 to 2018 is when they shut it down, 2017. But dude, like, people almost like don't believe me when I say this, but I've slept with some of the hottest women in my life, and like, I'm pretty good with women. I mean, girls, in a lot of places, but some of the hottest girls were from Craigslist casual encounters. And the key with that was the mistake most guys made is they would just reply to girls' ads, and you're like, there's 100 guys who are replying to our ads, right? You're like, well, what you got to do is you got to write your own ads, and you make it like a very certain style of ad where you're not just saying, I'm going to fuck your toy little pussy with my big dick. You're like kind of getting like all 50 Shades Grey with it and just getting very descriptive. And I had so many chicks just like email and be like, oh my God, like your ad was so hot. But another big one was that a lot of guys would be like, hey, I don't know if you're down for this, but I have a really hot wife. Do you want to bang her? So I definitely did like a good amount of that. And I definitely concur with what you said. Like, it was very like bro-y, cool. Like, you're not like actually talking shit to the guy, not being rude. It's only like when you're actually fucking the wife, then there's like a little bit of that. But I've never actually had a full-on type of like, like where I would be like, yeah, you like it when a real man fucks you. Like I've never actually had that happen. I don't know if you have.
the situations where it was a clear cuckolding scenario, it was more her doing the cuckolding than me. Like she was the one shit talking him, not me.
Gotcha.
Yeah, because I'm not really into that. Like,
I'm not either. Yeah. It's kind of.
I don't want to sit there and I'm having sex with a beautiful woman. I don't want to engage with a man while I'm doing it.
Yeah, that's true. I want the man to be as far away as possible, preferably like hiding in the closet. Like I don't want to see the man. I don't want to know the man. Like I don't want anything to do with the man yet.
Yeah. But now I do that for a living. So with a bunch of random other dudes who want to go home and who want to be offset as quickly as they can and get their paycheck.
Okay, really? So is it like a lot of situations where it's just like you're just very much treated like work? Like, listen, like I want to fucking watch Game of Thrones. Like, come on.
Oh yeah, very much like that. It's a porn set is a lot more professional than you might think.
Most people expect. Yeah, I've heard that.
Yeah, like it's not like a party. There's no cocaine. There's no alcohol. There's none of that crap.
Yeah.
And everyone's professional, and it's like the only people like. Don't get me wrong, it's a great work environment. People are cracking jokes all the time, like inappropriate, funny, stupid jokes. You know, there's no HR department.
Yeah, you can't be SJW on a porn set. You know what I mean? Like, what you said? Yeah.
Actually, well, now that I said, actually, yes, you can.
Really?
Be. Yeah,
really?
yeah.
Okay. Shit.
I'm kind of eating my words a bit here. Look, okay, so let me try and clarify.
Okay.
So you can make sex jokes, and you can compliment a woman in my work environment. Heaven forbid. You can tell her she's got a great ass, like. Or whatever, right? You can say, oh, my God, you look fantastic today. That's totally fine on a porn set. However, there is a lot of SJW stuff in porn.
Really?
There's a lot of Me Tooing in porn.
I have heard about the Me Tooing. Like I know like James Dean now has like a bunch of shit and like other guys. But which to me like it seems really odd. I'm not gonna make a comment because I don't know any parties involved. But like, why would you rape a girl if you're gonna have sex with her on camera like in 20 minutes? Like that just to me doesn't really make sense from a purely logical perspective. But again, I don't really know.
It's look, some dudes. Don't get me wrong. There's some guys in this industry who are kind of creepy. There's a couple of director producers who have a bad reputation, and they kind of got exposed this year. But there's been a handful of other situations where it's been a Me Too allegation, and the dude has like literal camera, like video camera evidence from the place they're shooting in, and her case just got shut down completely. A lot of these girls have kind of grown because they're younger girls, right? And they've kind of grown up with the mentality that regret is equivalent to rape.
Yeah. I know what you're talking.
They're two completely different things. Like, just because you regretted doing something does not mean it was not consensual in that moment, and does not mean it was sexual assault.
Can you imagine if a guy did that? Like, oh, in college one time I fucked a fat chick. She raped me.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly the equivalent. So
I'm just going to destroy her life now.
Yeah, man, it is what it is. But yeah, that's why I try to take the more professional approach. Because I've had a couple of Me Too allegations in my career already, and I've only been 4 years in the career. Like they obviously haven't been career ending because I'm still here talking to you. But
like, how does that like how would that go down? Like, is there like actual like she goes to the police? Or are we talking more of just like complaining to the director? Like, how does that like?
Dude, it all goes on Twitter.
Shit, fucking keyboard jockey type of shit.
So, Twitter is the social media platform for pornography.
Porn. Yeah.
Well, for all sex workers, really, for escorts, for webcam girls, OnlyFans girls, and porn stars, right?
And Donald Trump, yeah.
And Donald Trump, because this is because they allow hardcore pornography on Twitter. So it's a place where we can actually promote our stuff. Now, what happens is a girl has a bad. So the first thing, typically, the girl will like in the example that I had happened in my career, the girl complained to the director, and the director reached out to me. It didn't go to social media in my instance, which is probably why I still have a career.
What was the complaint even? Like, what could she possibly...
The complaint was I asked the girl, after the scene, I asked the girl if she wanted to shower together.
Crazy. A person you had sex with wants to shower with you.
That was it.
That's insane.
And to be fair, the director was a lesbian feminist. Which probably doesn't help.
Why is she shooting porn then if she's a lesbian feminist? Like, that just feels like...
Because she wants to shoot female-friendly erotica.
That's almost like it's almost like what's the term, like an oxymoron, because like a lot of porn is like most chicks like it, like, not degraded per se, but they like a dominant guy who takes control. Like that's the
Yes,
shit the vast majority of girls are into. That's just a fact.
absolutely.
But you're not gonna have a situation where it's like, hi, you're very pretty. Do you want to have sex with me? Yeah, like girls are not gonna want to watch that. That's not how it plays out. So yeah, it's kind of like a little bit of an oxymoron.
But that's how lesbian feminists think heterosexual sex should play out.
Oh.
So when it doesn't play out like that, it's sexual assault.
Oh.
Yeah, so that was basically the situation I got put in. That hasn't turned into anything, which is good.
That's good. I mean, yeah, that shit happens all the time in like my industry as well. I fortunately never had anything, but yeah, I know other coaches and stuff who've had like issues with that.
I can absolutely see that happening. Yeah, especially if you're talking about like sharing text conversations or showing like some kind of interaction. She's like, no, I'm not like that. I'm not a slut. That didn't happen.
Dude, that's part of the reason. Like every time I hook up with a girl, I'll send her a text like saying that was hot, like 2 fire emojis, because I want her. That's part of the reason. But I want her to say, yeah, that was so much fun. Like I want that, just in case. Again,
you want a record of that.
God forbid, but you never know. You can never be too safe.
Yeah.
But anyway, so jumping into, so you were doing, we're in the swinger scene, and then you got into doing like escorting, which I also find very interesting. I think the common, perception people have is if you're a male escort, you're just fucking old fat chicks, right? And I'm assuming that's not really what it's like, or like how what is, like, I know it's a lot of cucking, right? Like it's a lot of dudes who want you to fuck their wives. You mentioned that, but you said that was like more of a working class thing. When you got to like Melbourne, it was more like like hot, rich, older broads, or like what was it like?
Yeah, it's exactly the pattern that I observed. So I'm originally from Perth on the west coast of Australia, which is like a very blue collar town. Lots of like mining workers, what we would call cashed up bogans. So
yeah.
They get paid a ton of money, and then they work for like 3 or 4 weeks, and they come back to town. They got like a ton of cash to blow, and they're horny as hell because they've been watching.
What am I gonna do with all this money? I'm gonna pay Sterling to fuck my wife.
Basically, yeah. So that happened a lot in Perth. The whole like kind of like live cuckolding stuff, or just like a devil's threesome scenario. Right? Then, like I said, when I moved to the East Coast, when I moved to Melbourne, it was white collar business women in their like mid-30s. Yeah, white collar business women in their mid-30s, like pulling in multiple 6-figure incomes. And these weren't ugly women, man. These weren't like these were just women who were. Here's the thing: they were women who were finding it hard to date,
which is something a lot of women struggle with. Like,
right? But think about it this way: like a career woman who's making like $100,000, $200,000 a year. Who, like, what's her like dating prospects look like? The kind of guys that she wants to date are dudes who are making the same amount of money as her or more money than her.
And not married and still good looking.
Exactly. Not married, which is hard. And still good looking, charming is even harder to find. Yeah. So instead, they can't find that. So they hire a guy like me instead to play that character, to help them indulge in that fantasy. Instead, take them out to a 5-star restaurant, take them out to a show in Sydney or whatever, and then 5-star meal, and then back to their hotel room for a massage and a romantic evening.
They want the experience. It's not just about sex. They want like they want the whole experience, which makes sense. Like, don't get me wrong,
there was a few clients I had that it was purely sex, and ironically enough, the clients that were just sex were female escorts booking me.
Interesting. There was wait. Let me just quickly count, guys. This is live. We're gonna take your questions after we're done with the initial interview. So wait another 20 minutes, and then I want to get some more good info from Sterling, and then we're gonna take your questions. That's very fascinating. Why would a female escort book a male escort?
I wondered the exact same thing when I got my first booking like that. I was like, what the hell did I just? Because she would text. One of the ways that I would always vet my clients, right? Is I'd take the phone number and I'd plug the phone number into Google, into Facebook, into Instagram, into Twitter. Because typically people sign up to these social media accounts with their phone number. So you're going to be able to find some online information associated with that number. So is this person who they say they are? Like, does the name match up? So I would do that all the time. And I did this with a few. I'd get a booking, and I did this with a girl the first time this happened, and her advert came up for her escorting services. I was like, holy shit, wait a minute, this is actually a female escort. Turns out they just wanted a night off. That was the reason. She's seeing like 8 clients a day, back to back to back to back. She's exhausted. She's had to just sit there, like her jaw's super sore because she's been sucking dick for like 8 hours. She just wants to have someone pay attention to her.
Yeah, and most of the clients I'm sure she's seeing are not good. They're not giving her good sex. They're probably dirty. Like, they're not like I've heard that from like some chicks. Like, I've never fucked too. Well, I've hooked up with a few escorts. Like, I didn't pay for it. It was just like chicks I knew who did escorting on the side. And like that's one common thing they told me. Yeah, like some of these guys, they smell like shit. They don't shower. Like, I fucking hate fucking smelly guys. I'm like, Jesus Christ. Like, just fucking take a shower, bro. Like, basic hygiene 101. Yeah. So yeah, I can kind of see that like from her perspective.
So that's why that's how I get female escort clients, and then you'd get a good reputation with that girl. She'd tell a few other escorts because they all talk to each other, and then a few more would come my way. Yeah, so I had those girls. They were just purely sex, and then I had the wealthy businesswomen who were more about the experience, like you said. I had this one client who was a Chinese millionaire. Like, and she flew me out to New Zealand for a week to do like a skiing trip with her for a whole week, and it was that kind of stuff. And that's when I kind of learned, especially if a woman is really wealthy, she doesn't really have many people she can confide in. Like she was saying, like all of her family, the only person she could really confide in was either me or her niece. Her niece was like the only person who didn't want anything from her. The rest of her family all wanted fucking money. And all of her old friends wanted money now that she was a millionaire. And it was like the two people she could really be honest with was the escort she was paying to spend time with her, and her niece who wanted to be like a chef who she would. The funny thing, she would take her like niece out to 5-star restaurants and spoil her because she didn't want anything from her.
I mean, I'm sure you can relate to this. Like, you probably have a lot of guys reaching out to you and being like, "Yo, man, like." I know you mentioned this last interview, like, yo, give me a job. Or you're like, what the fuck? I'm not your slave. Like, like shit like that. I get a lot of that too, just a slightly different type of thing. But like, you're much more inclined to help someone who like it offers value and is not trying to take from you. Like, if someone is like, yo, man, like, I have this great video idea for you. Here's, I wrote out an outline. Like, I didn't ask for this. They just give me like, I just want to see you succeed. Like, if that person does that for me, I really want to then return the favor and help that person. Like, versus when they're trying to take, you're just like, fuck you. Like, honestly, like, I don't know anything.
Like, every porn star, male and female, is their inbox is constantly like the Instagram message requests is bombarded.
I'm sure I can imagine that.
Like, hey, how do I get into porn? Hey, can you get me into porn? Like how I can't hold your dick for you, mate. How the hell am I supposed to like get you I'm not a
why not?
Yeah. They want you to do like. It's so frustrating because I put the fucking work in. Like, for me to get into porn was a very well thought out, systematic.
Yeah, I remember the video resume that you had.
Dude, there was a lot of work that got put in, like, planned out, step by step, acted upon it. And it's not it wasn't really rocket science. Anyone could repeat the process, but I did the work. And then these guys, and then not once did I DM another porn star and say, hey, can you get me this job? Not once did I say that. If I'd worked with a girl before, I might have said, hey, you've worked with this director, right? How might I get in touch with him? And then she might volunteer his phone number to me. Never did I say, can you get me work with so-and-so? It wasn't even when I was already in the industry, I didn't do it that way.
Yeah. I mean, I think what you did was actually very strategic, and it can be applied to like non-porn shit, like to the business world. Like, so like you want to get into porn, so you got some experience with the swinging scene. Then you, and correct me if I'm wrong about any of the story. Then you got a couple to like, say, hey, listen, like I'm going to use this for a video resume. Let me videotape it, right? They already had some comfort with you. So then you had like a video resume. You sent like the director a very professional email. And the fact that you had proof, I think it's so much better than just saying like, I have a big dick. Like, you actually show you And I think the biggest thing, again, also correct me if I'm wrong, is not so much your penis size, it's your ability to like stay hard and fuck girls well. And that's like kind of more, I think, what directors are looking for. So
Absolutely.
you did that, then you got into the Aussie porn industry, then you leveraged that to get into the European porn industry, then you leveraged that to get into the American porn industry. So you just kind of like kept upgrading, like leveling up and leveling up.
Yeah, and that's the concept came from a book I read a long time ago called the author's Ryan Holiday, and the book is called you think you know the book I'm about to mention. The book is called Trust Me, I'm Lying: Confessions of a Media Manipulator.
I never read it, but I know which book you're talking about.
Yeah, so he talks in that book. He talks about the idea of like how do you get media free press? How do you get media coverage? How do you get your product written about in a big newspaper, right? And the general concept is you start small, you find a really small niche blog, you get them to write, you pitch them basically with a pre-written article, so you do the work for them, and a clickbaity title, you make it a no-brainer for them, they write, and then you use that as social proof, and then you pitch someone a little bit bigger than them, and then you repeat this again and again until you make your way up the ladder. So I just took the exact same concept and applied it to pornography. So I start with really small company in Australia.
Which are probably the easiest companies to get into because they don't have the reputation, right? So
exactly, and they're not spending that much money. They're only shooting a couple of times a month. Like in Australia, it's more of a passion project than an actual business. And there's only like 3 dudes on their webs. The one website I worked for, Aussie Arse, I think I was one of 4 dudes on the website. Like no one, they don't have any talent because you can't make a career out of it. But I knew that this was just a stepping stone. I knew that because I was escorting, I was making money from escorting. So I knew, okay, I can get my foot in the door here. This is at least proof that I can do the job. And that's the hard part because you got to think about it from the director's perspective. I mean, like I said, the budgets are a bit smaller in Australia compared to here, but the director is still fronting money.
Yeah, if the dude doesn't get hard, that's a day wasted.
Like
he still has to pay everyone else.
Yeah, in America, that's at least $5,000 the guy just wasted.
Yeah.
When you take when you take into consideration the location fee, the makeup artist, his personal assistant, the female talent's fee, and my fee, minimum, and then he's got to make money on top of that. Minimum, it's costing him like $4,000 to $5,000 minimum.
Yeah, no pressure.
Yeah, exactly. But I know that because I did my fucking research. I watched interviews of other male porn stars. I watched documentaries. I watched any Netflix special I could find on the topic. I studied this shit like it was a job, which I wanted it to be. So
which at the end of the day, it is a job. Like it's your career. You know, I do think
now,
that.
Yeah. And so
a lot of people just think it's as simple as like, well, you know, this one time in college I fucked this girl real well, so I'm going to be a good porn star. Versus like, there's definitely a lot more to it than that.
Yeah, and so doing the demo footage, like you mentioned, with my swinging friends, I broke that down into like, you know, here's missionary position, here's doggy style, here's and then I sent him pitched a couple of guys with that, and they were like, "This is the most professional application we have ever received. We'll give you a shot." And that's all I needed. I just needed one shot. I just needed one chance to prove myself. And then I knew once I'd got my foot in the door with somebody, I could then repeat the process again.
Right.
And then
I'm sure it's a lot easier once you have some like actual porn that you can reference, and you have like, you know, references like, yeah, you know, I worked with this director, you can call him up. I'm sure at that point it's a different ballgame.
Yeah, what I had to do to start with, because like it's your reputation. You it's not like being a girl in this industry. If you're a girl in this industry,
it's have to be hot.
Like from the start, you've got fans and agents and studios tweeting out your name, promoting your stuff because you're a new, fresh face as a girl. You're what drives the money machine that is pornography.
Even if you're not hot, there's probably a fetish for someone who looks like you.
Yes. And so, as a dude, though, you got to do it all yourself. So,
you're right.
You know, even if I worked for a small studio, when I pitched someone who was a little bit bigger than them, I was like dropping the link to my scenes in the email.
For sure.
Like, here's proof. You can see right here on this URL. These are the things I've done. It proves that I can do the job. And I was lucky enough to keep getting work. And then I repeat the process and I make it out here. Yeah.
Very interesting, man. So was that the pro? Like, if some guy's watching this, some young whippersnapper, he's like, I want to be like Sterling when I grow up. Like, I want to like. Is that what you recommend to like make a video like actually showing the fact that you can fuck well and sending that to directors?
It would depend where you are in the world. So
let's say you're in the U.S. because that's probably where most of my audience is.
Okay. Yeah, in the U.S. it's a lot easier. I'll say that right now.
Okay. Oh, interesting.
In the U.S. you have a hell of an easier route to get into pornography than I do.
Really? Okay.
Because, well, there's a couple of reasons. So for a start, there's actually agents over here who represent male talent. So you can pitch to an agent here and say, hey, I'm interested in getting into pornography. Will you represent me? If you're a good enough, like, this doesn't happen to everyone, but if you're a good enough looking dude with a big penis, some of them will just give you a shot straight away. That
really, even if you have like no experience, they'll still want
to. Some will still give you a try. However, what they'll probably do is put you through a casting call, and what this is they'll send you to the offices of various production companies like Evil Angel or Reality Kings or whatever. You'll go to the office here. They're right around the corner from my house, actually, here in the valley. You'll go to the office. You'll sit down with the casting manager, and then they'll tell you to go into a room, and they'll give you 5 minutes to get your dick hard, and then they're going to come in and take photos of you.
Oh shit! I did not know that. And is there a girl present for this, or is it just you?
It's just you.
You just gotta get hard.
That's you. So that's your test. Now
that's pretty common. You're saying, right?
Yeah. If you've got no experience whatsoever, you've got no proof that you can do this job. That's your test, and it's right there on the day in front of because they take model photos of you and add it to their like stack of potential models. That still doesn't guarantee you're going to get a job. If you've got a look they like, then that's more likely. I didn't have to do that because I had experience, proof that I can do the job, right? Another thing, now with the whole advent of now OnlyFans is so fucking popular.
Yeah, it's been like a game changer, right, for your world.
Huge game changer. So another way that a lot of dudes get into this industry in America in particular is their girlfriend gets them in.
Okay. Yeah.
So they will I don't know which, like, I don't know what comes first, chicken or egg situation. I don't know which comes first. Either the girl is doing porn and he ends up dating her, or he's dating her and then he tells her, hey, you should try porn, you're hot. And then she's in porn, and then she starts to tell directors, hey, my boyfriend would be really good, you should give him a try. And he gets a chance. There's numerous guys that I know who got in that way.
I mean, that makes sense. It's like the same principle as like the swinger party. You're piggybacking off like, like, if we want the girl, we gotta take the guy. And then,
exactly. You're piggybacking off the female cloud. Yep. And then what happens is, because their girlfriend is in the industry, they'll do a thing like we have a thing where we say we'll do a content trade. So a content trade is me and a female porn star will basically just hook up, and we'll put a phone on a tripod and record it, and then we'll use it for our respective OnlyFans accounts.
Yeah, it's a lot more fun than the content trades I do with other dating coaches.
Yeah, right.
I like your version of content trading more. Interesting, man.
But that's what happens. So in that situation, if you were dating a porn chick, she would probably reach out to other girls, other female talent, and be like, hey, do you want to do a content trade with me and my man? He'll film it point of view. You get your dick sucked by two beautiful women, and then you've got another girl who knows you, who can vouch for you. And then you can start building up a reputation as a male performer that way, and then maybe a director will get you in the door somewhere. Or what? Maybe one of the girls that you end up shooting content with is also a director, and she'll cast you.
So yeah, kind of what I heard. Let me know if this is true or not. Is that like, the misconception is like chicks in porno, they have like huge body counts, which I'm sure some of them do. But like that, really, it's like 50 to 100 guys that's fucking all these chicks. Like there's like not that much like male talent that's like consistently used. You know what I mean? Is that how true is that?
It's pretty true. It depends. It really depends upon at what age the girl gets into porn. So some of the younger girls, if they're still kind of like in their party years, they'll go out and they'll hook up with dudes at festival. Well, not now during COVID, but they would go out and hook up with guys at festivals and stuff. So they're not just sleeping with porn dudes. They're bouncing around a bit. But what you just said is actually true. There's like in terms of male talent, like guys that are actively working in Los Angeles, maybe 50 dudes, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
And you're talking about a talent pool of at least 400, 500 girls, all fucking the exact same 50 dudes.
Yeah.
Again and again and again, right? But even then, some of the top girls are only fucking the same 10 dudes.
Yeah. Because I think like the hotter the more popular you are, you get like requests, and you say, I want to work with this guy, I don't want to work with this guy. You have a lot more like leeway.
So there's the top 10, 20 dudes in the industry are the most popular guys, the most requested guys, and if the girl is very, very popular, then the studio is probably going to book her with a top tier male talent.
Mm-hmm.
So and then they'll just keep fucking the same 20 dudes. You know what I mean?
Right.
So there's definitely like 20 guys in this industry that fuck all the girls, right? And then the other like 30 or so dudes will get like the scraps here and there. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Luckily, I'm in that top 20.
Congratulations, sir. One thing I heard is that like the OnlyFans thing has like a lot of chicks are just making way more money from their OnlyFans than they are from like shooting porn. And like how have you seen that being like how has that influenced like kind of your career and just like the porn industry?
It's been interesting, man. It kind of blew up with the COVID lockdown this year.
With COVID, yeah. That's when I heard about it, like right before COVID.
So OnlyFans has actually been around for 3 years, but it really blew up this year, and it blew up because it kind of blew up more because what we would call civilians jumped on the bandwagon because they all lost their jobs at Starbucks or whatever, and they're like, I'm kind of cute, I look good in a thong, maybe like a G-string, maybe I should make an OnlyFans account. Or I've got like thousands of thirsty dudes following me on Instagram, I can make money off this, I'm going to start an OnlyFans account. And it kind of pissed off a lot of the porn girls. But the girls who really, really make bank, to give you an idea of like the money they're making, right? If a girl is in the top like 1.5% to 1% on OnlyFans, she's pulling in around $6,000 to $10,000 a month. Now,
really? I would expect that to be more. Like I heard there's a lot of OnlyFans millionaires. Now,
here's the key.
Oh, okay.
If she's in the 0.5% of OnlyFans, then she's pulling in $50,000 plus a month.
Okay.
So there absolutely are OnlyFans millionaires. However, there's not as many as you would think. Because there's literally hundreds of thousands of accounts on OnlyFans.
Yeah,
most girls on OnlyFans aren't making like 5 figures a month. Most girls are pulling in $1,000 or $2,000. The majority. Now, like the ones you've probably heard of and the ones you've probably seen on if you've seen a girl on Instagram who's got a big following, she's probably making 10, 20, 30 grand a month probably. There are totally girls who can do that. And it's not the funny thing is it's actually, dude, a lot of the bigger girls make that kind of money. A lot of the thicker girls, like
that's interesting.
Like what we would call porgs, like fat ass white girls, they pull in the money, man. Like because there's a lot of competition for like all the girls that are like conventionally beautiful. There's tons of them, so they're all kind of competing for the same client, if you will, right? But the girls who've got something a little bit different, who kind of stand out a little bit. Maybe they're like
missing one arm or something like that. Yeah.
Something. They've got
8 fingers.
Them, right? They tend to make the bigger, either them or porn girls with giant followings. So I know, and I've worked with a bunch of girls who are literally OnlyFans millionaires. And it's kind of depressing as a guy. You're like, people talk about a gender pay gap. Oh boy, is there a gender pay gap?
I bet. That's probably the one industry where like. There's a huge discrepancy in pay. Like give us like a rundown. Like how much on average would a female performer get paid, and how much would a male performer get paid? I'm sure there's like a huge discrepancy.
It's roughly double. So,
really? I would expect to be way more, honestly.
Well, okay, it's double in terms of what we get paid on set. in terms of what they're making outside of that on OnlyFans or their clip sites, it's way, way, way more. So the average, like an average rate for a new guy in America, if he's a good performer, it's about $400 a scene for a new guy. And that can rate, and then it can go up to like 500, 600, 800. If they're like good award winner, like $800 to $1,000 a scene. And if they're a contracted guy, it can be like $1,000, $1,500 to $2,000 a scene. Okay, that's for probably the big name stars that people might be familiar with. Dudes who are like memed a lot, they're probably pulling in $1,500 to $2,000 a scene. Okay, now girls get $1,000 right off the bat. As a brand new girl, for a guy-girl scene, it's $1,000 straight off the bat. Now their rate will go up depending upon what sex acts they're doing.
So yes, I've heard that, and who they're having sex with. Like if you're willing to have sex with a black guy, that's more money, right? Like there's like all that.
Yeah, that's a whole
anal is more, yeah.
Yeah, butt stuff is more. The whole charging more to fuck a black dude thing is kind of coming to an end now.
Really? Okay.
Because everyone called it out this year. They're like, this is kind of like, because here was the argument. The argument was originally, all the black dudes have giant penises, so they're going to charge more because they'll be sore the next day.
Right.
However,
but everyone knows it's not really that.
No. However, there's a lot of white dudes who are really packing.
Yeah. Who
can do some damage, and they're not charging extra to fuck those dudes. So these girls were starting to get called out, like because it came down to the girls. The studios were like, "Hey, we want to book you for this," and the girl and her agent were like, "Okay, he's a black dude. I'm going to double my rate or whatever." So it came down to the chicks, man, and this is sort of the funny part. I find it quite ironic because no one, like a black chick doesn't charge more to fuck me.
Yeah.
And I don't charge more to fuck a black chick.
Right.
So it's the only instance is when it's a white girl fucking a black dude. That's the only instance where this happens. So,
yeah.
I mean, can you imagine? It only happens in America. They don't do it in Europe. It doesn't happen at all in Europe. There's plenty of black dudes in Europe. There's plenty of black performers in Europe, and the girls out there don't give a fuck. They don't charge.
So America's kind of almost behind in the times in terms of that.
Yeah,
that's
interesting.
That's fascinating. One thing I did want to ask you about is what's the Japanese porn industry like? Because I've heard some fucking shit. I heard in Japan it's like there was actually like one male porn star, Japanese porn star, made an ad asking, please, I cannot have sex with all these women. I need more, but you have to be like Asian. Like they want to see Asian guys fucking Asian girls. Like, please, more Asian people come to Japan and fuck these beautiful women. We can't do it ourselves. For the love of God. Do you have any experience with that scene?
I have not worked out there. I do know a couple of guys. I know a couple of European dudes who've gone out there to work. And that is exactly the circumstance, from what I understand. It's a case of there's not many Japanese men who can do the job.
Right.
And
I think a big part of that's probably cultural. There's a lot of like shaming and stuff like that.
Oh yeah. Big. They're taking a far bigger risk there than I am here.
For sure.
And so there's that aspect of it. And yeah, so I know some of the Japanese male porn stars are doing like 2 scenes a day every day of the month. Like that's a lot of sex for one dude to be having like constantly. And so yeah, they were actually trying to do like a recruitment drive at one point, but they don't want white guys. They don't want
white guys, which is frustrating because I'm like, if this whole PWF thing doesn't work out, maybe I could take a trip out there. I like sushi and shit. Wouldn't be the worst thing ever.
Although there was one Japanese director who I met who came out to AVN this year, who is flying European males and like American dudes, maybe, fingers crossed, out to Japan to work with Japanese girls. So I'm going to hit him up and see if I can get flown out to Japan.
Good shit, man. Yeah. You're like, listen, I'll pay for half the ticket. Like, let me just fucking get my foot in the door there.
Yeah, man.
I mean, what would you say the big hubs for, the porn industry are? Like, I'm assuming, like Japan is one, Europe, like Budapest and Czech. Then you got America. Is there any other ones like, that most people don't know about?
Yeah. So in America, the 3 hotspots in order are like LA is number 1.
Vegas 2, Miami
Vegas 3. Is 2, Miami's 3. Yep. Yeah. And then in Europe, it's Budapest is number 1.
Interesting. Okay.
Prague in the Czech Republic is number 2, and Barcelona is number 3.
Really? Okay, I
Yeah.
would not expect Barcelona.
Because in Barcelona they have you can do public nudity.
Mm,
And so you can get away with a lot of shit in Barcelona you can't get away with anywhere else in the world.
okay, interesting.
Yeah, and then elsewhere in the world, that's those. I mean, there is porn shot in England, but it is spread all over the place. So like there's no like hub in England. Like every director is in a different city in England, and in Australia, I mean, like I said, there's only like 2 companies, and they shoot once or twice a month, but they're both in Melbourne, so that's not really a hub. And then in
It's
Japan,
kind of interesting that's Melbourne and not Sydney, because you would expect to be Sydney.
yeah, I think it's more of the culture in Melbourne. Melbourne is like an artsy cinema kind of place, so that's probably why they've got the people with camera skills are in Melbourne. But oddly enough, it's actually technically it's illegal to film porn in Australia. So,
but you can escort, but you can't film porn.
Yeah,
that seems very backwards.
It's backwards, and then I come here and I can't escort, but I can film porn. So I'm like, all right, fine. That's what I'm going to do.
That is kind of weird law. Yeah. What about Latin America? Is there any hubs in Latin America?
Medellin in Colombia.
My favorite place.
Yeah, but it's also, I mean, Medellin is more of a webcamming hub in America, in South America, and I know there is some porn shot in Brazil, but I don't know where. I never worked out there, so I've been to Brazil a couple of times, but I've never worked there in porn, so I don't know where exactly the studios are. Yeah.
Have you ever been down to Medellin?
Not yet. I really want to go to Medellin. I've heard a lot of really great things about it.
You gotta go, bro. It's one of my favorite cities in the in the world. It's fucking epic there. Just like aside from the hot chicks, like the scenery there and the food is really good. It's like it's a fucking like that's maybe where I see myself living in 5 years.
I was seriously considering a relocation there because I have my friend Sarah J. She was shooting porn out there for a couple of times in the last year.
Interesting. So for her, would that be mostly like fucking Colombian guys, or who would she be banging?
No, she's banging Colombian girls. She flew out. She brought with her, and she brought a male talent with her to Medellin, and he was the guy that got to fuck all the Colombian girls.
Lucky motherfucker.
I know. So I was like, Sarah, like I'll move there, and I'll be your man on the ground. I'll take the bullet. I'll fuck all these Colombian bitches for you.
I'm willing to make that sacrifice for our friendship.
The best, I think I saw a question in the chat a while ago, like, who's the best girl you've worked with? It was this random Colombian girl. I swear to God, I've worked with some of the top girls in the planet. Like, literally top 10 on Pornhub rankings, like the most popular girls. I've worked with them. The best one I've ever worked with was this random ass. She hasn't even got a Twitter. She's got nothing. And this was in fucking Budapest, in the middle of Hungary. They flew her out there. I got booked with her, and she was, without a doubt, the sexiest bitch I've ever fucked. She was just amazing. And I wish she kept working.
Let me ask you a little slight fanboy question before we jump into the questions. I'm just going to name porn stars who I know of. I'm curious if you've worked with them. Lisa Ann.
No, but I've met her.
Is she cool? She seems pretty cool in her interviews.
Yeah, she's really cool. Yeah,
it's kind of the vibe I got from her. I actually I would love to interview her because she has I know she does a radio show and shit. Like she's a witty chick, like for sure.
Yeah, she does. I think she does like a fantasy football thing.
Yeah, she's big on that, like sports. Lana Rhodes.
No, I have not. I've not met nor worked with her. She's kind of out of the industry now. Like she is. Yeah. Like her rate. There's a couple of girls like her and Riley Reid. Their rate is so ridiculously high now that it sort of excludes them from getting booked because they make so much money on their own shit.
I can imagine. I mean, they have millions of followers on Instagram. Like, just so easy to monetize that. Like
they're those two, Lana Rhodes and Riley Reid. I guarantee you are OnlyFans millionaires.
Oh, without a doubt, dude. They're without a doubt. What about Leela Starr?
Have I worked? Sometimes people say names and I'm like, hang on, have I?
Big titty, big booty Latina chick. Yeah, super hot.
No, she looks like she's a Florida girl.
Yeah, she lives in California now. She's in West Hollywood.
Nah, I haven't met her. No. Keep trying. Anyone else?
Let me see. Like I used to watch a lot of porn. I would have been a much better about this like 10 years ago before I got into game. Like lately,
Right.
it's more of just like watching interviews, if anything. I'm trying to think who else would like is someone who I find very. Crystal Lust. She's pretty new.
Crystal Lust. No, I haven't even heard of her.
She's very new, but dude, she has the most ridiculous ass in the world. It's like defines gravity and logic and physics, and I don't even know.
Defines gravity.
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, those are the ones that come to mind.
I'll tell you right now. Like so the biggest names I've worked with. Let's have a look at this. I'm literally going to Pornhub right now, and I'm clicking on the word most popular. I'm just gonna go down this list. Abella Danger. I've worked with her.
I've heard of her. I'm not familiar with what she looks like, but I've heard that name.
Angela White. I've worked with her.
Heard that name too.
Adriana Chechik.
Yeah, I watched her. Do you ever watch No Jumper? No Jumper podcast.
I don't watch it, but I know what you're talking. I know the show. I know what you're talking about.
He interviewed her. He interviews a lot of porn stars, but yeah, she's a Pennsylvania girl. Grew up in like a weird religious family, and then just like she's a character.
She's a hustler, man. Adriana Chechik. She is a hustler. She makes a ton of money, but she works her ass off. She is no slacker. I'll tell you that right now. She's great.
Like literally and figuratively, because she takes like 3 dicks in her ass. So like, she's a hustler.
Who else I got on this list? Looking at the top 50. Emily Willis, Lena Paul, Corey Chase. What else we got here? Sarah J, who's a good friend of mine now.
Sarah J. Yeah, I watched the interview you did with on what's his name? Myron Gaines channel.
The Fresh and Fit podcast. Yeah,
he actually lives down the street from me. I see him at the gym all the time.
Well, I was in Miami to do that. Yeah.
Oh yeah, it would have been cool if we linked up earlier, but yeah.
Yeah, damn. Yeah, Sarah J's like we met at AVN, and I just basically just hit on her.
I heard that story. You just like basically cold approached her.
Yeah, I was like, I think because I swear to God, I used to masturbate to her when I was in my because she's like 10 years older than me.
She's a sexy MILF.
She's a sexy motherfucker, man, and she's great in bed. She's everything I was hoping she would be. And that's happened to me like 4 times. I've now worked with at least 4 women that I was masturbating to when I was in my like mid-20s. It is a bizarre experience.
Dude, that's epic. Like when just things come full circle like that. I love that.
Yeah, but unfortunately, it's a 50-50 hit rate. It's been like half of them have been real duds, and half of them have been amazing. So it's like it's not really. It's kind of like a never meet your heroes kind of situation.
Right. Yeah, it is weird. Like I used to like when I was like 21. I used to look up to the RSD guys. Like I used to like RSD Real Social. Yeah. So like those are like my idols. And then as I got like more into this industry, I met all of them, and just like I'm like, wow. Yeah. About that, but then you also meet some cool people who like you never expected. Like, holy shit, this guy's like really solid. Like kind of I don't know. His videos seem like a dick, but it's actually like a really solid guy. So I have like a lot of that. Yeah, for sure. I know exactly what you mean. Interesting shit, man. Let's anyone else on this list that we should any famous shout outs?
So I just closed the window. Let's let I got up to like number 25 just then. Who else did I get on here? Have I worked with Eliza? Don't think I've worked with that girl.
Someone asked Haley Hayes.
No, that doesn't ring a bell.
I've never heard of her yet.
Alexis Fawkes. What else we got on here? Gina Valentina. Brittany Amber. Alina Lopez.
I know Gina Valentina. She was also on No Jumper. Yeah, she's cute. She's a Florida girl.
Yeah. I worked with her a couple of times. Lexi Law.
Oh, someone asked Diamond Kitty, and I second that question because I think she's fucking sexy.
Diamond Kitty. That name
she's the one that did the porno with Vitaly ZTV. That famous Bank Bros scene where he couldn't get hard.
Diamond Kitty.
Kitty Diamond or Diamond Kitty. Yeah, I think it's Kitty Diamond, actually.
Cuban. Huh. No, I don't recognize her. No.
One last one. Alexis Texas.
No, I haven't worked with her. The next one I was going to give you was Kenzie Reeves. I think most guys would probably recognize Kenzie Reeves if they saw a picture of her. Oh, and Bridget B, Nicolette Shea. Yeah, there's a bunch more girls here.
Yeah. Nicolette Shea is the big titty blonde chick, right?
Yeah, giant titties, like
Yeah. Okay.
ridiculous titties. Like
Dude,
somebody's got,
you're banged like half of No Jumpers like interviewees.
yeah, basically. That's the job,
Yeah.
man. That's what we get paid to do. Someone's
It's
got to
cool.
do it.
Someone's got to do it. It's a cool ass job. You know what's funny though? I think that your job, it's not like people think like, oh, I could do that, but I think maybe 1 to 2% of the male population can actually do what you do. And I personally like, I fuck a lot of tricks. I'm pretty good in bed, but I don't think I could do what you do because I think like for me, I don't know if I'd be able to perform under pressure. Like I think that's like the big thing. Like I think a lot of guys don't realize like the difficulties that come in. And again, it's a fun ass fucking job. You fuck hot girls and get paid for it. That's fucking awesome.
Yeah.
But I do think it takes a certain kind of guy to be able to perform under pressure, to be able to, and you know, you can't like nut whenever you want. You have to like save it for like the money shot. You have to like, you can't come too fast, but you have to come at some point. Like there's a lot of intricacies with it.
Yeah, there's a lot to this job there's like layers to this job that people don't even realize.
Oh, I'm sure.
The way I describe it is I'm not fucking for my pleasure. I'm not fucking for the girl's pleasure. I'm fucking for the viewer's pleasure. That's the whole thing. So like,
when you guys are sitting there jerking off, remember this man is fucking pouring his heart and soul to make sure you guys have a yeah. We just ruined porn for like 200 guys. They're like, think of me like, oh shit, I can never jerk
exactly.
off again. Yeah, that's interesting.
Do you want to answer some of these questions?
Let's jump to this question because a lot of these guys are.
Thank you for being patient with this, guys. This is a good chat. It's my first time chatting to Alex, so it's been good. But I'm happy to answer anything you guys throw at me.
All right, let's start with. I'm gonna skip like the basic questions that have been covered. Like what part of Australia you're from? You're from Perth, so we can just skip that. Here's just people talking about the sound issues.
Oh yeah.
Okay, this is an interesting question. Can anyone become a dominant, or do some men just don't have the mindset?
Absolutely, man. It's a learnable thing. Like anything to do with sex is a learnable skill, just like everything else, man. Like if you can learn to like pick up, if you can learn to talk to chicks, you can learn to fuck chicks better. Like it's 100% a learnable skill. So being a dominant is about. I mean, there's two things here. There's one is being more sexually dominant in the bedroom. And then there's being a actual BDSM dom. Those are different things.
Different things, yeah.
Those are different things. But I would fundamentally say they're both learnable skills. Yes. Yeah, don't get me wrong. Some dudes in the bedroom are they sexually get off on being a submissive, and ironically, they actually those guys tend to be like CEOs.
Yes, that is interesting. That is ironic, but yeah, I have seen that as well.
Well, because I got friends, obviously, being in the escorting scene, I have friends who are escorts, and some of those are dominatrixes, and their clients are all
like really successful guys who are like super alpha at the workplace, and they go home and they just want to be dominated.
Yeah, exactly. So,
which is interesting.
But I digress. But yeah, any dude can learn to be more dominant in the bedroom, and can learn to actually be a BDSM dom. There's plenty of resources on that. And actually, I'm no joke. I've literally just finished filming an entire product on teaching dudes how to be more sexually dominant. I've got to stitch it together.
Oh, nice. Yeah. Well, is it ready yet? Can we link in the description, or it still needs more?
It hasn't been launched yet, unfortunately.
Okay.
But you'll be able to find it at my Gumroad page when that is complete. So it is.
Cool. Yeah. Maybe we can have you on after the product is launched, and we can do like a.
Happy to, yeah. Happy to give you, we can give you some sneak peeks at what's in there.
Oh shit!
Anything that I can get away with on YouTube, so it's got to be kind of PG. Because it's a hardcore product. It's not like I'm actually showing real sex demonstrations in it. So.
Yeah, basically some YouTubers, they're like trying to tiptoe around it. Like I've already accepted the fact that every video I do is going to get demonetized. Like I ain't trying to make money from YouTube. Like I'm not going to tiptoe around it. I just don't want to get banned off YouTube. But with that, it's pretty clear. We can talk about anything as long as it's not like super racist. We just can't show like sex. Like I don't know if you know the story with Afi, but he actually temporarily had his YouTube suspended because some fucking retard showed his dick on a live stream.
Yeah, I heard of that. Yeah.
Like how fucking weird and dumb do you have to be to show your dick to a bunch of men on a live stream is beyond me. But like, yeah, like shit like that. Yeah,
that's. I'm glad he's still going though. I'm glad he got it back.
Yeah, he's a good guy. Yeah, for sure.
I like it
as well. Can you become? Oh yeah, my theory on this, and just let me know, how much you agree with this. But is that like, as a guy, like you, I feel like some guys feel the pressure to be like almost a certain way in bed and something like that. But I just think that like you should try shit and see what you're comfortable with. But at the end of the day, you should also be congruent with what you're into. Like I know for myself personally, like I'm pretty dominant in bed, but like I've tried, like the extreme like dom type of shit. I'm just like that doesn't turn me on, so I don't do it. You know what I mean? Like
that's completely true. Like you've got you nailed it on the head when you said congruence. Because here's the thing, like to be dominant in the bedroom, right? You have to not hesitate in what you're doing, right? So if you're going to spank a girl, as a real basic example, you're not going to do it like with a shaking hand, like.
Is that okay? Yeah.
Like, is this okay? Am I hurting you? That's not gonna fly. Like that ain't gonna go down well.
Right.
She's gonna be like, "Who is this giant pussy that I have found myself in bed with?" It's about congruence. So like, and what you just said, like if you get off on it, fan-fucking-tastic.
Yes, because the vibe is gonna rub off on the girl.
Exactly. Like I'm a complete fucking pervert. There's a lot of things that I like to do that most men aren't going to be comfortable with, and that's totally fine. But you can.
What's the most extreme one that you feel comfortable sharing?
I really like flogging girls, tying them up. I like denying them orgasms. I like shoving all kinds of things in their assholes and then making them put it back in their mouth, and
that's good shit right there. Minus the ass to mouth. I don't know if I would do that, but yeah. Other than that, yeah, I'm down with all of that. All those causes.
All the causes.
Yeah. Hashtag fucking shove shit up her ass. All right, let's jump to the next question. Should you wear condom with everyone in your rotation?
Yes, you dirty bastards. Absolutely. There's a look. I can get away with not using condoms in my work because we literally get STI tests every 14 days.
Yeah, it's very. I heard that statistic, like there hasn't been a HIV transmission in like decades, like on a porn set.
Yeah, on a porn set, there's not been a HIV transmission. You're exactly correct. Yeah, in 10 years, there's not been one because we have. Not only do we have the most up-to-date tests, like we can, from with HIV, for example, the kind of test that the average person has access to, it's a antibody test, and you can't even detect HIV with that test until 30 days after you've caught it.
Yeah, I've heard that. Yeah.
But with the ones that we use, it's a RNA test. It's looking for the RNA of the virus in your bloodstream, and we can detect it within 3 days of exposure. So like we use even more advanced tests, like, and we get results back the very next day for like chlamydia, syphilis, gonorrhea. Like it's all state of the art. And then everyone we're having sex with has the exact same tests. And what happens is if someone pops dirty on a test, then everybody first of all, they get retested immediately, and everybody that they will have worked with in the last 14 days is informed, and then they're told to retest before they shoot again. So it puts a stop on any sex immediately. Right. That doesn't happen in the real world.
No, it does not. Absolutely not. I think that's probably like, I'm sure this probably gets annoying for you, like the big misconception, like, oh, you're a porn star, you're dirty, like how many STDs do you have? Which is I
ain't got any, motherfucker, because I'm tested and I know.
Yeah, it's like a really dumb question because as a male porn star who mostly fucks, I'm sure, on porn sets, like you're way less likely to get an STD than just pulling a random girl from the club.
You absolutely
way less likely.
That is the honest to God truth. And like not only is my job at risk, like my income is at risk if I catch an STI.
Your livelihood, your reputation, everything.
So is the girls that I'm working with. So people, I mean, don't get me wrong, people fuck outside the industry, but they're pretty careful when they do it.
Yeah, I'm sure.
If I'm fucking a girl that's not in porn, I'm using a condom.
Yeah, I mean that makes sense. I mean, like that. Yeah, I'm sure probably the girls probably get that more, but like you're gonna fuck a porn star, like, or you're gonna get an STD. Like, no, I probably am more confident fucking a female who does porn than a regular girl about the non-STD thing. Like, truth be told, like if we look at it logically. So I have a question for you. What do you think about double teaming a girl? I mean, I think this largely comes down to personal preferences. I don't think there's a right or wrong here.
Yeah, dude, like I've done it plenty of times. It's like it really comes down to like what you're into, because you never want to do something you aren't gonna enjoy. Like I've been there and I've done that, and I can tell you guys, yeah, especially sexually, you don't want to put yourself in a situation where you're not even necessarily regretting it, but you're just like not into it, because it's no point. Like what's the point of that? It's like, oh yeah, you can tick something off your bucket list, but it shouldn't have been on your bucket list in the first place if you went into it. You know?
I think it's good to
when it comes to double teaming chicks, if you're a guy who gets off on seeing a woman really getting off, yeah, then double teaming might be something you could enjoy, because you're going to enjoy like the exhibitionism.
Then ask your doctor about double teaming a local girl near you.
Exactly. If you've got like a voyeuristic kind of streak to you, then this might be up your alley. But if you're not really a voyeur, because you're going to be like fucking a girl while someone else is fucking her, so you're going to kind of see someone fucking her, right? So
yeah, my philosophy is that you should try everything, but then like you should then honestly, like for example, like, you know, everyone loves anal. Like I tried anal like when I was like 19, 20, and I was like, you know what, don't really like it that much. Prefer vaginal sex more. And like I don't feel the need to fuck a girl in the ass just because like it's cool or something like that.
Just because it's what all the cool kids are doing.
All the cool kids are doing it, yeah. Or like, you know, I tried like orgies, like they're fun. I mean, don't get me wrong, but I was like, you know, I prefer having sex with a girl one-on-one. So yeah, I think it's good to try shit and then like just evaluate from your experience whether you enjoy it or not. Someone asked, playing with fire, what do you think? What's your favorite vid of Stirling's? I've honestly only watched your interviews like on other channels. I have not watched your porno. I just felt it would be kind of weird if I watched you fuck before doing this interview.
Yeah, it was a little bit weird. I mean, look, I've had some of my friends from back in high school message me on Facebook, and they've been like, "You son of a bitch! I was watching a video on Pornhub,
and you came up."
And then the camera panned up, and I saw your fucking face.
I've heard like some like porn chicks when they get interviewed, like one of them, I think, I don't know, I forget what name, maybe it was Alexis Texas. She was saying how like she ruined porn for her dad because he's like always paranoid that she's gonna come up when he's watching porn. So you just completely cut out porn. I can see that if you're like a dad and like your daughter's a popular porn star, like even if you're supportive, you can't watch porn because like, what if she fucking pops up?
No.
And then you're like, damn, I just saw my daughter's ass. Like, this is awkward. Thanksgiving is going to be awkward. Okay. Sterling, do you think the red pill paradigm is correct?
Yeah, fundamentally, yeah. I mean, you could say I'm a red pilled guy, but that didn't actually happen until after I was already in porn. I started reading Rollo Tomasi's stuff, like The Rational Male and whatnot, and that really kind of gave me a new perspective on things. And since being in porn, it has only reaffirmed a lot of the stuff that is kind of talked about in the red pill paradigm, to be honest.
Yeah. I think red pill can mean a lot of things. Like people define that word loosely. Like you have some red pill, you know, whatever, teachers who think of stuff that's almost totally different than another red pill guy.
That's true.
I think it's pretty vague. But I think that red pill they do hit some things like the nail on the head, and some other things. The one thing I disagree with though is like I don't think all red pill guys teach this or believe in this, but I see this quite often is that like, no, just figure out everything in your life and the woman part will take care of itself. Well, like, yes, you should absolutely get all your shit handled. But women, just because you get a good job in fitness, women aren't just going to fall into your lap. And I just see this.
Yeah.
I did a panel on Offie's channel, and me and this one guy got into it because he was just like, the advice he was giving, like, guys, like, well, how do I become more self with women? He's like, stop focusing on the women, just get all your shit in order, and that will take care of itself. And I'm like, no, it won't. Like, he's like, what do you mean it won't? Like, it won't.
I kind of get what he's saying when he says don't focus on the woman, as in don't make like a woman shouldn't be the be all and end all of your life.
Yes, I think everyone agrees with that.
Yeah, like you have to be like on your purpose as a if you want to be like a high value man, whatever phrase you want to throw out there. Yeah, like have a purpose in your life, have shit going on, because this makes you an interesting guy to be around for a woman. You don't want to be a boring motherfucker. So that when you then attract women into your life, she wants to stick around and you add value. Right. And you know, compounds on itself. But you have to proactively do things to
You
bring.
have to actually meet girls, unless you're a celebrity. You have to proactively meet girls.
Yeah. I mean, even then they have to DM them. You know, they're still
Or
sliding.
at least check their DMs.
Well, dude, actually, it's funny you say that because I have porn girls in here. I interview them for my channel, and we literally go through their Instagram DMs.
Oh, dude, that's probably epic. They probably get like so much fucking weird shit.
Dude, it is spicy. It is really spicy reading these DMs. And
I'll have to check out that video.
We don't dox anybody, but I'll sit here with their phone in my hand, and the two of us will just read through it, and like we'll read out what the guys are sending them, and like, oh, this is a blue checkmark athlete. Here's what he's saying. Blah. Yeah.
I can imagine, dude. Like I've done that with girls who I'm just hooking up with, but like non-porn girls, and like they get some shit. So I can imagine, like, if you're a famous porn star, like the kind of fucking DMs you get are like, will you kill a chicken and rub the blood all over my feet while I jerk off with a fucking tampon on my ass?
They're a lot more polite than you might think. There's a ton of like, you're an absolute goddess, and I would worship.
Yeah, I can see like a lot of groveling type of shit.
A lot of that.
Just, in a sense, just as bad because like if you're groveling for the girl, that's like not good either. Another red pill paradigm that I don't really agree with is that I think I see this a lot in the red pill community. It's like all women are gonna fuck you over. Like women, it's almost like women are these untrustworthy creatures. When I think a lot of that comes from one guy had a bad experience with one girl, so they erroneously conclude that all chicks are like that. There's some really fucking bad dudes out there, and there's some really good dudes out there. There's some really cool chicks out there, some really bad chicks out there. Some chicks who I would trust with my life, and some chicks who I wouldn't trust with a dollar. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's just, I see a lot of that. It's just like, no, dude, like people are people.
I think the better way of looking at it is like every woman has the capacity to do that.
Yeah.
Like they have it's like, especially in the world we live in now, with things like Me Too and whatnot. Like every girl, she might not actually do it, but she has the capacity to, like, she has the ability to do it if she wanted to. I think, and that's kind of how I read into that stuff. It's like, just move as a guy. You got to move through the world with a bit of intelligence, and
Right.
kind of cover your own ass, especially if you live in like America or like California. California where the divorce courts are really annoying, are really geared against you and that kind of stuff. So I get where they're coming from with that, and like, but I've been in dysfunctional relationships, and I haven't been burnt in them,
Sure.
So
Yeah.
I can't really, like, I've been burnt in some of them, don't get me wrong, but most of them I haven't been burnt. It's just been a shitty relationship. And for me, like, learning some of the red pill stuff, because I when I was younger, I did like the pickup stuff, like the RSD, mystery method kind of stuff. And then I got into porn, and then I started reading some of this red pill stuff. For me, it kind of gave me a perspective on like, oh, okay, here's why certain things in the relationship weren't working. Here's where I was failing. Like, I was operating on this sort of routine that doesn't work when it comes to chicks. Like, I was pedestalizing them too much, or doing this or doing that. Like, the pickup stuff kind of like teach it to me. I separate them. Like, the pickup stuff teaches you how to get a chick in the bedroom, and the red pill stuff kind of teaches you how to like deal with her like long term. It's like a zoomed out kind of perspective on things. Right. That's how I've always interpreted it. But I don't go around thinking that every girl's gonna fuck me over.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, that's just like a horrible, because you're just gonna be so paranoid all the time. Like, you're just gonna be like fucking nervous. I mean, I like your point when you said you have to like navigate through the world, using your brain. I think that's important. Like, it's just like that with business. Like, I made some business mistakes when I first got into this, partnering with someone who I shouldn't have partnered with, just stuff like that. But yeah, I mean, like, if you're a successful millionaire living in California, probably shouldn't marry a 20-year-old without getting a prenup. Just saying. So you have to use your brain and like not just like fucking.
Yeah, and that's what I mean by like they have the capacity to screw you over. Because like everyone, like women are very, very emotional creatures, and like I've had exes in the past who were like would in that moment when I've pissed them off, they would swear on a Bible that I am the worst man to have ever walked the earth.
Sure.
But 6 months later, when they've calmed down, they're in love with me again.
Sure.
So.
Yeah, I mean, you just don't want to make big life decisions on an emotional whim. Like, you're like, oh, the sex was really good. I'm gonna marry this girl. Like, you should like kind of take a
Yeah,
step back and evaluate, like,
exactly.
how you guys
Exactly.
do.
Terrible thing to base a marriage on is the sex life.
Well, dude,
Like,
well, this happened to my cousin. So I have family in Israel. My cousin like he went from being a total fucking degenerate when he was like 15, 16, like chain smoking cigarettes, getting drunk every night, and then when he was like 18, 19, he became a Hasidic Jew, like hardcore about it, like fucking no phone, nothing. And really, it was pretty funny because my dad was visiting him, and my dad always saw that my cousin was like always asking to borrow his brother's phone. And then my dad like took a sneak peek at the phone, and apparently my cousin was borrowing his brother's phone to watch porn on it because God won't know if it's your brother's phone because God can only check your history. God can't check your brother's history. Is the most weird logic. But anyway, so this guy, he wound up. I'm not going to say my cousin's name, but he's a retard for this. He wound up finding a girl, marrying her within 4 months of meeting, and then my whole family was like, "You just met. Like, why are you in such a rush to get married?" He's like, "Honestly, I'm just really horny and I want to get laid." And we're like, "That's not a good reason to get married, man." He did it, got married. 3 months later, they're getting divorced.
see, this kind of shit.
Yeah, it's just like that shit fucking blows my mind. All right, so this question: how do you deal with your reputation with friends and family?
My friends find it hilarious what I do, so there's no problems with that. And my family initially, they just want to know that I'm safe. Really, like my dad was a little bit like when I first told my dad, he he thought he'd kind of failed as a father initially, but since he because that was at the very very beginning.
Mm-hmm.
Since I've moved out here and I'm doing really well, he calls me up regularly and he's like, "You doing all right?" I'm like, yeah, I'm doing great. Like, as long as he knows that I'm, because he's an older guy, like he's like he's a boomer, born in like 1950, so his perception of like the adult entertainment industry is probably all of the misconceptions we talked about earlier. Like, oh, it's parties, there's cocaine, everyone's got HIV. Right. Like, no, this is not the reality that I live in, So he's coming at it with a good heart. Just worrying about his son, but I'm fine. And yeah, I'm pretty sure my cousins all know. I'm certain my cousins all know what I do, and it's just not really talked about at family Christmas dinner. I haven't been home back to Australia for about 2.5 years. No, three, actually longer. Yeah, like 3 years. Yeah. I haven't been back home in like 3 years, so I haven't had that awkward big family gathering yet. I'm looking forward to
that. It's gonna be fun. You should bring like 2 porn chicks with you to add a little spice to it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think a lot of it also just depends on your specific family and friends. I think there's a lot of misconceptions in like my career and what I do, but I think there's probably way more in what you do. Like the big one I get, like people for some reason think that I make money by fucking girls. Like you're a dating coach, so you're gonna make the more girls you fuck, the more money you make. But no one pays me money to get laid. People pay me money to help them get laid, help them with situations. So that's like a big misconception. Like pretty much every girl I've ever dated also thinks that. But you get paid to fuck girls. I'm like, no, I'm not like a gigolo. Like I'm actually I get paid to teach people. So it's like one of the things. Speaking of like family reunions, I remember kind of when I got into this, like my parents were really cool about it, especially when they saw there was a business into it. But like one day, I have a lot of like lay reports on my website. My cousin decided to start reading one of my lay reports out loud. And it was one of the more graphic ones. And he's a lot. I think it was my female cousin. She's like, and then I grabbed her big titties and watched them bounce. Mom's like, okay, I'm done. Don't want to hear anymore. Like, cut this fucking shit out. So I can see a lot of it being like like that with your family probably as well.
Yeah, they're too. I think they're too. I don't think any of my cousins have enough balls to try that with me.
Oh yeah, okay. Yeah, my family, we all like to give each other shit. So yeah.
I'm the big one in the I'm the bigger guy in the family. I think they know I'd smack them down if they tried any bullshit.
I mean, I wonder if it's awkward for like your siblings to like watch porn because there's a chance you might come up.
I mean, my older brother definitely watches porn. I don't know if he watches porn anymore though. So we'll see. Yeah, my sister's fine with it. My sister's the same. My sister just wants to know that I'm happy and safe. I don't come from like a broken family or anything like that. I come from a nuclear stable family. Parents have been married my whole life. Like
pretty much.
You so it's sort of like there's a misconception that everyone in porn comes from a broken home.
Right.
And it's really not the case.
Yeah. All right, this leads us to the next question. Do either of you plan on settling down, family, marriage, etc.?
Yeah, absolutely. I want to have kids. My current plan is actually kind of unconventional. So
Give us your 10-year plan, bro.
my honest to God plan is to find a place where I can, well, probably set up like kind of a remote area with like some land. I want to have 4 to 5 wives with about a dozen children, and these won't be wives in the traditional sense, as in like legally married. These will be wives in the sense of a BDSM domination, a dom sub situation. So I'm gonna have, I'm gonna have 4 to 5 subs bearing me multiple children each, and living in a big.
You know who Brian Gosling is? He's like a director in the LA area.
Oh, like, Brian Gosling, yeah, for Hook Up Hotshot, yeah.
Yeah, he kind of does what you're talking about, but he's not married to them. But yeah, he has like 3 girls live in, type of thing.
Yeah, I know. The reason this plan might sound weird to other people, but I have a friend in Australia who's done exactly this with 7 women. He hasn't had kids yet, but he has 7 submissives, all living in the same house in his property in New South Wales. 5 of them have been with him for multiple years. 2 of them, 5 of them are his wives. They've graduated to that level in his system.
Yeah, like a promotion to like wife. Like
absolutely,
there's like a ceremony like when you join the mafia.
That is actually how he does it. They get different kinds of collars, depending on how loyal they've been, how good they've been, and they progress up the scale. So he's got hilarious. 5 wives and 2 girlfriends right now. So I'm just gonna copy his model. It fucking works. These girls adore him. They absolutely adore him. He's had his Instagram account shut down so many times because he just triggers feminists. And all he does is post photos of him and his girls being really happy together. And he's
I can see a lot of feminists getting triggered by that.
Because he's like a 40-year-old ex-military veteran from Australia who's like kind of chubby. He looks like a Santa Claus with a shorter beard. Like he's just a happy guy, and who consensually beats these women with like whips and chains and shit, and ties them up, and they love him for it. And every single photo you see of this man is these younger women just adoring him like he's Christ. And yeah,
I'm sure he has like a really strong frame and like solid game, right?
Oh, he's got to have. Yeah, I'm gonna try and get him on my show if he doesn't mind like outing himself a little bit.
Yeah, that'll be an interesting interview. Me personally, I think I'll probably definitely want to. I'm not gonna do this when I'm like 50. I do want to have like at least I don't know if I'm gonna get married, but I do want to have a chick who I live with, where it's like an exclusive relationship. I think the mistake a lot of guys make with selling down is they'll take like the first thing they can get. Like I've seen this, like like you ask a lot of guys, like, oh, why are you dating her? Like, why specifically? Like, she's hot. But like that's not a reason. Or like, the sex is good. Like a lot of guys, it's like, oh, this chick is pretty attractive and she's willing to fuck me, and that's the reason they sell down with it, which I think is a horrible reason. Like that should all go without saying. Like the reason to sell down with the girls because you have similar values, you have a strong connection. She brings more to your life than she takes away. So those are like real reasons to sell down with a girl, not because she's just hot. Like. That's why I think it's actually important to learn game and be successful with women before you sell down.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Let's take one last question. I think it's a very good question to plug what you're working on right now. My question is, do you have any experience with PE techniques, pumping extenders? If so, do you recommend them?
Absolutely, I recommend them. Yeah, I have an entire book on my. You can go to gumroad.com/Stirling Cooper X. Stirling spelled STIR, like it is in my bio. My book is called How I Grew My Penis and Other Porn Industry Secrets. So, not so subtly titled book. But before I got into porn, I was actually under 6 inches in length. And then I spent a good 8 months dedicated because this was the time when I was working in Australia, and then just a bit of a time when I was in England, right? So I wasn't shooting every day. I had a lot of time, and I was like, I need to get my dick longer because it's just better for the camera. It's purely like a camera thing. Like it's easier to see shit. So I spent a good 8 months working on it every friggin' day, and I managed to grow it by like 1.2 inches in length and about half an inch in circumference.
And this is all like natural methods, right? Like without surgery.
Yeah, I'm not. There's no surgery. There's no fucking magic African herb that's gonna do this. Like every time you go on Pornhub
Yeah, you always see that. Do you want your dick to be bigger? And there's always this dick that looks like that's like 20 inches long.
It frustrates the hell out of me because I see these ads. I mean, and these ads kind of sponsor my entire career, so it's kind of ironic.
Yeah.
But you go to you click on the ad and you look at the advertisement, and it's always like, here's the secret African herb we discovered in the Amazon that made my dick grow twice as large. It's like, no, it didn't, you fucking liar. That is not how it works. I've done it. I know what it takes.
There's no magic pills.
There's two ways that the penis can grow, right? Post puberty as an adult. Right, it's kind of like if you've ever seen, there's a tribe in Myanmar, I believe it is, where the women put like rings around their necks and
to make their neck longer. Yeah.
Right, so it's a similar, not exactly the same technique. We're not putting rings on our dick, but it's a similar method. Right, so there's two ways you do it. One is by stretch. You either expand or you stretch the cells in the penile shaft, and then they kind of like micro tears. They break and then they heal and they can grow over time. And the other way you do it is through stretching the ligaments that attach your penis to the pubic bone. So when people talk about penile surgery, here's the weird thing. So penis extension surgery, like penis growth surgery, doesn't actually grow your erect penis. What they do with penile surgery is they sever the ligaments that attach your penile shaft to your pubic bone, and that causes the penis to like hang down lower than it would normally, but it doesn't actually change the length of the shaft at all. So you still have to, when you get a boner, the dick is still the exact, you've paid tens of thousands of dollars to look better in the fucking locker room. It didn't do a goddamn thing when it counts, when your dick's hard and there's a woman there. You know? So that kind of frustrates me when I see shit like this. But if anyone's curious, check out my book. I go through exactly how I did it. I give you guys, I talk about different devices and how to use devices correctly. I talk about non-device. If you have a limited budget, I talk about ways to do it, you know, with your hands, like naturally and stuff. And that's just the price of entry for like the book. The rest of the book is a bunch of stuff on how to get longer lasting erections, how to not prematurely ejaculate, how to be multi-orgasmic as a guy, different buttons that you can push in the bedroom to get women off, tips on fitness and diet and how that relates, supplements you can take supplements that I take and other male performers take for, you know, boner strength and for ejaculate strength and various other things. So there's a lot of stuff in this book. It's like a choose your own adventure for men's sexual health. That's kind of how I like to describe it.
Epic. Definitely check it out, guys. We're going to link in the description below. Definitely check it out. Sounds interesting. Definitely a book I'm going to check out personally as well. So let me actually ask this. So I never really researched this that much, but so it is possible to naturally grow your penis, but it just takes a lot of work, right? Is that the general premise?
Yeah, it takes commitment. It takes consistency, like daily consistency. It's a stubborn thing. It's not going to like happen over. It's hard. It takes more effort than it does like growing like muscles in the gym. It takes even more consistency than that. You know, like I can add, you know, like a couple of inches to my bicep far quicker than I can add a couple of inches to my dick.
Yeah, that kind of makes sense. All right, man. Is there anything else you're working on? Anything you want to mention?
You guys can come check out my my YouTube channel. It is youtube.com/Stirling Cooper X.
We're gonna link that as well.
Yeah, and in that I have like a bunch of different segments. I do some solo segments where I give guys advice on certain topics. I talk a lot about masculinity these days. I talk about like fitness and diet a fair bit. I also get girls in on my show. I call the segment Tales from a Hot Girl, where then they're all porn chicks, where we sit down, we go through their DMs, we talk about the kinds of guys that they date. You know, you kind of get a real, and these girls are really honest. Like the one thing you can say about porn girls is they've got nothing to hide. So they'll be brutally honest with you about, you know, what turns them on, what doesn't turn them on, why they're replying to dudes' DMs, why they're not replying to dudes' DMs, stuff like that. So that's a cool segment I have on. And then I have another segment where I interview other guys, like authors and various dudes who you might be familiar with, people like Myron Gaines, the Fresh and Fit guys in Miami. Yeah, let's have you on at some point, Alex.
Yeah, for sure, dude. I'd definitely be down. Sounds very interesting.
Yeah.
Awesome, bro. Thank you so much for coming on, man. I really enjoyed this interview. I think we got a lot of very interesting. Even I thought I knew a lot about the porn industry, but I learned quite a few things.
Yeah, good.
So definitely a very interesting conversation. All right, bro. Good chatting. Thank you guys for tuning in. We're gonna do another one next Sunday. We got, I believe, James Tusk joining us. It's gonna be another interesting chat. All right, guys. Everyone have a good night. See you later, Sterling.
Take care.
Take care, man.